Definitely. I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between FHA, VA, and conventional buyers, and why we're seeing more sellers choose conventional buyer offers rather than FHA and VA. And then I also want to talk about um, what are some pointers that we can give FHA and VA buyers to possibly have a chance in this market. So touch on the difference of those type of loans.
So on an FHA loan, there's going to be an upfront charge for mortgage insurance. There's going to be a fixed mortgage insurance charge pretty much over the life of the loan. On a VA loan, if that buyer is not 10% or more disabled, they're going to have a VA funding fee. Most of those types of buyers will finance that amount. So their loan is always going to be a little bit bigger than had they gone conventional. A conventional buyer is going to be a little more competitive for themselves because the interest rates that we're seeing for conventional buyers 3, 4, 5 years ago, it used to be significantly higher.
Mm-hmm.
50 basis points. It might have been, instead of getting a 3.5, they were getting a 4 or 4.25.
Mm-hmm.
Today's market, that same score buyer, VA versus conventional, the difference in rate might only be about an eighth of a point. So
Wow.
now more people that can go conventional are going, and the perception I think amongst sellers is, well, that's a better deal because my seller is no longer on the hook for any unallowables or any required repairs, or God forbid if it doesn't make value. Now, earlier when we were speaking, you had said that you've created a solution for overcoming some of that value shortage fear that a seller might have. What did you just do?
So, so with VA and FHA offers on the third party financing addendum, uh, you have to put an amount on the third party financing addendum saying that this house will appraise for X amount. And so, probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we could put that the house is going to appraise for the sales price, and a lot of times it would. Even if we're going above asking, it's not uncommon. It was not as uncommon for the appraisal to come back low, because the appraisals are coming back low, and the house is not meeting value because we're having to offer, 8%, 10% over ask price. Um, Sellers see that as a huge risk because now the buyer has an out to walk away if the house doesn't appraise. So a buyer needs to put in special provisions that they're willing to pay over what the appraisal price comes in at if it doesn't meet appraisal, to offset that risk for the seller.
Do you think a lot of buyer agents know that? Or is that an unfair statement?
I do think a lot know that, but there's a lot that don't know that.
Okay. Because how many, there's the last time I looked, there were over 16,000 agents in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 16,000, 3,200 do 80% of the deals. So I think it's fair to assume that a lot of those agents don't know that solution.
I would say that you're right. And also,
Not to besmirch them, it's
no,
just some of them aren't coached well.
yeah, I was just talking to an agent at an open house, and she's like, I can't find a solution to get my offers accepted, yada, yada, yada. I don't see any type of trend or whatnot. And I'm not going to advise my buyer to pay over asking or what it appraises over what it appraises for. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So most houses are going, from what I've seen, about 8% over ask price. And some are appraising, yes, but a lot of them are not appraising. And so you're having to state in special provisions if you're an FHA or VA offer that you're willing to pay that appraisal gap, or with a conventional loan you can actually waive the appraisal option. Basically, it waive the appraisal termination option, and so you could say that's basically saying that I'll pay for the house no matter what it appraises at. And if we get an offer like that coming from a seller's point of view, that's the best offer we can get because now we have less risk. they're willing to pay that sales price amount no matter what.
Now, I had to provide proof of funds that I had that extra overage.
Hmm.
Is that something that you're saying or you would think is pretty normal?
Yeah, definitely. I just had a situation where we went 25 over ask price and we waived the appraisal, basically saying we're willing to pay this 25 regardless what it appraises for. Now I did my research at the and looked at the comps, and I told my buyers I think it will appraise, but there's a slight chance that it may come in a little low. So you just got to know that moving forward. And they agreed, and we moved forward. But before we moved forward, the sellers and the selling agent did ask for proof of funds to see that we had that extra cash.
Just in case.
Yeah, because we were only putting down 5%. So like, oh, you're only putting down 5%. We want to see the extra funds in the account to make sure that you can definitely pay for that appraisal gap. And the reason being is, I mean, every offer typically comes with third party financing addendum, and there's an out that says within so many days you can opt out of the contract and get your earnest money back if for some reason financially you don't get the full approval. And so there's still that out. So if you're not checking proof of funds and they're saying they're willing to pay 30, 40 over, and it comes in super short, well, then they have that app to walk away and get their earnest money back. So listing agents and sellers are getting smarter about checking proof of funds because of the current situation we're in right now. So
do you see it getting better anytime soon?
Oh man, and I don't. I think it's very, very tough with the amount of people that are coming to Texas, moving to Texas, interest rates being so low. Like we were just talking about this earlier. I refinanced my house at a 2.99, and now I'm going to rent it out because I can rent it out and make money on it versus selling it. So now I'm making some passive income, and they're paying my mortgage down, have a ton of equity in the house. Why sell? That's one of the reasons. And then the influx of buyers coming in from all around the nation is just insane.